I'm Johnny Vaughan.
I've struck brass, gang.
And this is Steve Brooker, otherwise known as Mud God.
I actually want to change history.
He's one of a select group of licensed amateur archaeologists known as Mudlarks, who scour the banks of the River Thames, searching not for buried treasure, but for hidden history, and whose discoveries have changed our understanding of London forever.
There's stuff in that mud that no one's ever seen before.
On the Thames foreshore lies over 2,000 years of history just waiting to be discovered.
And that's what does it for me.
But larking's no job for those afraid to get stuck in. To wade through time, you've got to be prepared to get your hands dirty, armed with little more than a trowel and a lot of patience.
No!
Wait.
Steve's agreed to share with me his decades of knowledge and experience.
It's cold.
We'll race against time and tide to get to the bottom of London's muddy history.
Oh, yes!
Our adventures on the foreshore will propel us on historical quests that range from the sublime to the painful.
Ow!
To the downright disgusting.
Oh, man, that rinks! Oh, God. Out the shed, out the shed.
As we become Mudmen.
In today's Mudmen, Johnny tries to blow us up.
You could have killed me. You could have killed yourself.
Our finds on the foreshore lead me to one of London's long-lost wartime secrets.
You realise we're walking through what was the most secret part of London, don't you?
And it's all hands on deck.
Right, you two, stop loafing, get them in!
As we sign up for a stint in the senior service. Today, we're in the East London area around Silvertown. Until the mid-19th century, the area was little more than barren marshland. But in 1844, an act was passed banning factories from making toxic substances within central London. So they all moved here. Lucky Silvertown. Silvertown was named after Samuel Winkworth Silver. Now, he was one of the very first people to open a factory here, a factory which made some of the first of Alexander Graham Bell's telephones. The company was called the India Rubber Gutta Percha and Telegraph Works Company Limited. So it's a good job that this place was named after the man, not his factory. Otherwise, the road signs would look like those sort of stations in Wales. Anyway, to the foreshore and Steve. Roxanne! So Steve, you brought me to Silvertown today. We've got the Millennium Dome in the background there, and we've got
Greenwich over there.
we've got the Greenwich Observatory there. So we really are on naught here,
We are.
and we're on quite a barren bit of shore with very hazardous, kind of quicksandy, boggy, paranoid mud. Why are we here?
Well, compared to where we normally are, this is getting more extreme, so it's going to get muddier, more muddier and muddier.
This is Mudmen, extreme,
So what we've actually got here is we've got Silvertown itself,
extreme.
Isle of Dogs,
Yeah.
First and Second World War just severely hit. We only have to look at some of these walls here where you can see where the shrapnel's gone off. But the reason why we've come down today, yeah, is we want a bit of a military kind of feel.
You say it's very military. What have you found that you can actually take home?
It's one I found earlier.
What goes home in the bucket?
A shell case from 1943. Now, some of these shells are this tall, this round, and it'd be actually hard for you to lift. Only place I know, yeah, where you can come down and we're going to have 303s in abundance down here, bullets. We're going to have shells from the Second and First World War. We're going to have cartridges galore.
During the Second World War, there were anti-aircraft batteries in the vicinity. And during the First, it was blown sky high.
In 1917, the munitions work up at Silvertown actually blew up.
Why did it blow up, Steve? Do you know?
Yeah, there was
Don't wing it. Do you know?
There was a fire at the munitions factory.
He knows.
And 50 tons of TNT went up, killed 78 people, injured hundreds of people, and 60 to 70,000 properties just totally damaged.
60 to 70,000.
We're talking big, we're talking massive.
I'm going to check that out. I mean, actually, 50 tons of TNT going up. You've got bits of munition flying everywhere. You know, I can kind of see that. And what happened during the Second World War? Any other?
Bombed again, terribly bombed again. And hopefully today we won't hit one of these bombs. They are down here.
Are they?
Oh, the Thames is full of bombs. Still dangerous.
What's the procedure when you find these things? I'm interested. What do you do when you find an unexploded bomb, or you even fire a hand grenade? Who do you call?
You ring the police, and instantly they will send down the bomb disposal people. Sometimes they'll just take it away.
Yeah.
Other times, yeah, they'll actually blow up on the foreshore, which is quite good.
Have you had that?
Oh yeah, loads of times. Absolutely loads of times.
You've actually seen that you've actually been there when a German bomb's gone off.
Yeah, and when you think it, you're talking something as big as a cricket ball, a bit smaller than a cricket ball, really.
Yeah.
When you actually see this go off, it's unbelievable. You would hear this 3 miles away.
As always, Steve and I won't be going it alone today. he's brought along two of the best mudmen in the business in the form of the mysteriously named GM and Woolwich John. But it seems you don't have to dig very deep to find Silvertown's wartime past.
Hey, yay! Looks like looks 303, isn't it?
Is a 303.
Okay, nice one. Wait, what's that there? That's going in there. Another one there. Look. Bit of shrapnel, maybe.
Again, check there.
What?
303.
Yes. Okay, so it all goes into the collect. I'm really having my best ever day now. I've got marbles, 2 marbles. Great. What? Don't worry. Why are they not marble? They're cat size. What are they?
No. You know where you used to get the old bottles that were sealed by marble?
Oh yes, I know. Those different bottles. People just smash the bottles so they can play with the marbles.
Yeah.
And that's what they are.
And there are hundreds of these down here.
Are there?
Munitions case
So
again.
people basically just firing shooters and drinking beer.
And playing marbles at the same time.
Yeah. So it's a bit like Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. More bullets over here. Look, Rustians. That looks at. Oh,
You can show that's been used there.
Yeah, that
so
has
you
been
actually
fun,
hit
yeah.
something.
Yeah. This is great, I mean, I know I've only found like a couple of marbles from a beer bottle and a few bullets and a coin or so, but it's quite a rush, isn't it? I mean, I can really see the addiction of this, Steve. What's that? Oh, look.
Oh, yeah, that's a fuse.
Is that a fuse?
Yeah, it's a fuse.
I got it. Oh, this is rich pickings. This is the best larking we've ever done, Steve. We should have just come down here when I started, just to give me a bit of confidence, you know? Steve, why are you sort of picking your way around on those bits? And am I in danger of getting sucked under here?
That's about 5 foot deep there.
Really?
Yeah, whereas
What's the deepest you've ever gone down suddenly?
I probably have gone 5 foot.
Have you?
Yeah. It's quite dangerous what we actually do. So you've got to know where to go down.
Okay, so what's the tip?
High points only,
High points only?
and follow where I go.
Okay, so you stay on this high ground and you're going to be okay, yeah?
You're going to be okay.
Okay, wait, whoa, I can feel that one give and whoa!
It is dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
But that's why we are licensed mudmen. And again, don't just try this at home in the mud you might have in your garden because it's dangerous. We're trained people. I've got a license. I can go down 3 inches. Steve, he's got 1.5 meters of action he can deal with. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. Oh, you already have?
What you got? It's a splitter. It's a wood splitter.
How old?
Victorian.
Hey! Now that is a Victorian wood splitter, as I knew instantly. I didn't have to shout to Steve or anything. And I'm going to put a foot up here as a symbol of that's what you do when you're slightly in triumph. 1 foot raised. I mean, I would go Georgian, but it's Victorian, and that feels like a good find, that does. What's that? No, nothing. Is that a shell case? No, it's not. It's so hard because I just see an object in the mud, and Steve can instantly go, "You want to have that, mate? It's a fuse for a very rare." And I just, for me, like, it could be to the end of a bit of cable. Oh, that looks like a bit of pram. And actually, in fact, it's a cockpit from a Messerschmitt or something. I don't know, but I think I have to team back up with Steve. I'm going to really get serious here and find something, just so I can point me to the right directions, and also so I don't get sucked under by the bog.
Of course, we've got the handle off of the shell case. There are thousands of those down here.
Okay. Come on, come on.
Oh, there's another one.
Bring it in. Steve,
Yeah, what you got?
what do you think that is?
Ah, good find. Very good find.
And this is what I reckon, okay? Before you tell me it's a wine rack. I think that was a box for shells. I think the rear end of them slotted in there, that had gone on, and there'd have been another bit probably that slotted on.
You're very good.
What?
You know the size that these come in.
Yes.
We're getting a lot bigger. Look how that fits in. Right,
Yeah.
as in that's smaller.
Yeah.
But of course, the larger shells.
Have I got it right?
You're spot on.
I thought you were going to say it's a wine rack.
No. Get the shells a bit bigger than that. They fit
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well, let's see if we can find a shell that fits this to really make up a story to take back to Mud HQ. And it's the sound of that chattering there on wood. Sorry.
well, you've got really excited there, haven't
Sorry.
you? Where did you have this from?
I had that from just there, Steve.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
behind there, mate.
Look carefully where you. I saw you scraping there.
Yeah, no, I didn't have to scrape it. It was literally just lying there behind these bits.
So who scraped this out then?
I scraped that
yeah,
out now.
Yeah. So
But it wasn't. Ta-da! Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da! Oh my God!
I thought, yeah.
And suddenly, ladies and gentlemen, there is. Ta-da! Look at that! Look at hey! Oh man, I'm made up with
I'll tell you,
that.
and all you do is you get in the water,
Yeah.
and just plunge it in and out.
Okay. Plunge it, son, plunge it. All right, lovely. Oh, that is brilliant. Oh, well, I love the fact Steve knows really that, you know, he's just a good bloke, isn't he? He's just a really good bloke. I've struck brass going, yay! Look at that. And I would have found it on the next trowel thing, obviously. I did all the work. But Steve, I think, was loving the fact that with his eye he could see it. I just suddenly saw a little strip of, kind of a little bit of the brass going down there. He's going, Vaughan, which were you sorted?
So, of course, Johnny's had a shell out. Admittedly, he was standing on it, but you can see how excited he is. Now, we're all the same. Whenever you have a find-up, yeah, it's like that. It doesn't, you know, it's not worth millions.
You never see this Eat Lead Time team.
What else did you notice about it? Have you checked it to see what age it is?
No, I haven't. I came back to you. You're like Yoda.
Right, check the bottom of it.
Oda.
Now, 1942.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, earlier on, you also had something else.
It's a fuse, isn't it?
Yeah, we have a fuse. So, of course, the fuse went in here.
Coming up, Johnny hones his skills on the foreshore.
They all sound the same, Steve. It's a high-pitched whine. It goes, da, 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 da.
Our man in the know hasn't got a clue.
What do you reckon on age?
And we go ballistic on board HMS St Albans. Mud god Steve Brooker and I are trawling the foreshore at Silvertown in the hope of unearthing London's muddy history. We've braved no man's land, and I came up with a mind-blowing find.
Fresh from his success, I think it's time for Johnny to learn some skills to add to his rookie enthusiasm.
It's now progression time.
Yeah.
Still no knee pads yet.
Yeah.
But they'll come later.
Well, you keep saying that. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it.
I'm going to move you on to the history wand.
Okay.
Now, we're going to use it
Okay.
on a default setting.
Right.
So we have to listen within those iron signals that we're going to get for the good stuff.
Okay.
Right, stick the headphones on. So we're going to turn the sensitivity up to 10.
Ah! Jeez! Why'd you do that? You give me, like, what's it called? Tinnitus.
Right, go on, put it back on. What does that sound like? Anything?
Ah!
Now, can you hear that?
Volume down a little bit. Quite bitty.
That's bitty. Right, now. Is that a good, nice, crisp signal?
Well, it's quite loud when you do that. It's persistent.
Yeah, but it's crisp.
It's crisp, yeah.
Now, is this bitty?
No. They all sound the same, Steve. It's a high-pitched whine. It goes, da, 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 da.
Now, is that...
That's much crisper, Steve.
Now, this is the difference here between a good signal, which is this nice pewter button, and a piece of iron. Now, of course, there's so much iron down here that you're going to be bombing round hearing this,
Yes.
and it's going to drive you nutty.
But what do I want to hear?
Is this.
It's different. It's a bit more on the right.
Well, no, it shouldn't be. It's because you fiddled with the knob again.
Just to make you feel more reassured.
OK, now it's time to let the boy wizard loose with the wand of history to see what he can conjure up on the foreshore.
Coin!
Hey!
I found a coin.
What is it?
It's a 20p piece.
The history wand has worked.
Well, the history, yeah, but as you say that, but I'm older than it. So I don't like to think that's history, if you know what I mean.
It shows you, you're trying.
I'm trying, yeah, and it was, I assumed you put that down there as a sort of test.
Johnny isn't having a lot of luck, and it seems the pros aren't faring much better.
Another one. Just found 5 or 6 coins in there, all modern, all decimal, mixture of decimal and a few foreign coins there.
Has he? I say, John, what have you had?
It's a nice fossil, Steve.
What John's found is he's actually found a nice fossil. We get quite a few of these on the Thames, but check that out, it's really nice.
This fossil is an Ichthyosaurus and could be up to 145 million years old.
Oh, John's off.
The foreshore might be throwing up 150 million years of history, but not to Vaughan, it seems. I think he could do with some cheering up, and I found just the thing.
Boney,
Yeah.
the 20p is not very historic, is it? So I've actually found something for you. Hold out your hand. Man to man.
Oh, God, that's a proper...
Yeah, it's probably cannibal, yeah, just from down here. You get quite a few of them down here.
And actually, were there some cannons on the way in down there that I saw?
Yeah, you did this, guys, yeah.
I wonder if it'll fit then. I want to try and that.
We can try on the way out.
Hey, that's really good. What do you do with that? Do you have to hand that in now?
No, that could be yours. There are thousands of
Really,
cannibals.
I can keep the cannibal?
Yeah, you can keep
Oh,
that.
that's great, man. Actually, I would give it to my kids, but I mean, that is a deadly thing to give them. They would put the shot somewhere where it shouldn't be.
Wait,
Right.
do you remember the shells that I found today as well?
Yeah.
They're still live, and you just chucked the cannonball in there. You could have killed me. You could have killed yourself.
I really love you, Steve. I think you're brilliant.
So how'd you get on with the machine? Johnny, how'd you get on with the machine? Can you hear me? How'd you get on with the machine?
I tell you what, Steve, I'm not really getting on with this machine.
All finds can be proudly presented to the Portable Antiquities Scheme, set up to record objects found by members of the public. It doesn't have to be the holy grail for your find to be of historical interest, and whatever you do turf up can be taken to one of the scheme's regional finds officers. Luckily, we found ours in the pub. Jeff Egan works for the PAS and British Museum. He's a walking encyclopedia of historical knowledge, but, as we're about to find out today, his page on World War II must have got ripped out.
So this then, Jeff, is our haul from the foreshore at Silvertown. What do you think overall? I think it's a lovely selection. It looks great for me because it involves lots of World War II artefacts and World War I stuff and a few fossils. What do you reckon?
Well, that's certainly the focus of it. Again, there's a large amount. It's beyond what I normally look at, so I think you are the guys that know this more than I do.
Well, actually, again, we defer to Sven here. Sven Hassel.
Should we go military? Well, first of all, let's go to the shell that you found.
Oh, man. That's my favourite find to date. It really is.
And it is a big
Some would say my only
really.
find to date, but yeah.
They can be, of course, this size, a couple smaller, but we can have things that are near enough up to your hip and this round.
Our shell case is from a 40mm Bofors anti-aircraft gun. These guns were carried by anti-aircraft batteries and most major warships in the Royal Navy during World War II. It contained 326 grams of explosive propellant and was capable of shooting down a Luftwaffe plane.
But for me, this is an amazing thing. And could you refer to it from now on as this little baby?
Sorry.
Okay, thanks.
And of course, another one of your finds. Now you can go through this because you actually told me what this was.
Finding this was great because I knew it was an ammunition box, and then we found this, which isn't the round that would have gone in there, or one of the shells that would have gone in there, but it sort of gives you the idea of, I mean, they're much bigger, so I mean, that's heavy enough, so these must have been whoppers. And then suddenly you get an idea of what whoppers they were, because you look at the handles that were part of this box, which was sort of buried right up in the mud, so I couldn't get it all out. You give an idea of what I mean, to have a handle that robust gives you an idea of how these how heavy these shell casings were. I mean, do we know that that's the case? Am I right, do we think?
Is that the case?
What's wrong with saying that? I'm only deferring to you.
Is that the
Okay.
case? The
Oh,
ammo
sorry.
case?
Oh,
Yes,
it's
it is.
wordplay.
You're spot on there. That is the case. These things will be quite heavy. Just that, you know, it's brass. Feel the weight of that. Feel the weight of that.
I felt it when I pulled it out.
And of course, you've got 12 of these in a case. It's quite heavy. So two of you with the old handle.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through the rounds?
Yeah, let's go through the rounds. What have we got here? We've got, of course, our old friend. There it is, the 303 round. Won 2 world wars for us, that did. It's a very, very good weapon, the Lee Enfield 303.
50 calibre, of course. Battle of Britain jobby.
During the war, the RAF upgraded from the 303 to the 50 caliber bullet. A 303 could pepper a German aeroplane, but a 50 caliber could bring it down.
Next on the agenda, anti-aircraft shell. Of course, would have been set to go off at a certain time. So say for 10,000 feet, you need, I don't know, 40 seconds to get up there or whatever. So Allen key jobby, straight in. To whatever time allowance you wanted, straight up, it explodes. And of course, we found shrapnel down there as well.
Okay, that's shrapnel, that's fantastic. And hang on, wait a second. That's heavy, isn't it, that?
Yeah.
Do you find much German stuff down in that?
Yeah, the occasional bits and pieces. Imagine they're going back to Germany, they're not going to go back fully stocked because it looks like they've done nothing whatsoever. So, of course, it would just be chucked out. So, yes, we have the odd shell down there, I have bullets down there.
Okay.
And of course, they used to follow the river by night to get to the centre of London, didn't they?
Yeah.
The docks. So it would be a concentration there.
Yes. The real crowd-teasing find of the day, which was, I found this little baby. Tell them what that is, Steve.
It's just a doorstop.
Thanks.
It could be some kind of a splitter.
You think it's a Victorian wood wedge?
Yeah, it's a splitter. Down at Silvertown, if you just move to the left to where we were, we have lots of caulking tools. We do have timber splitters and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's probably something to do with that.
Okay.
But why the chain?
Yeah, why the chain? Because if you're going to be knocking something on top of this, you're not going to want a chain on it. So it's some a wedge for. What do you think, Jeff?
I think it's going to be attached to a heavy-duty door, a warehouse door, and it's going to just keep all the rumbling of large vehicles going through, nothing's going to stop that. That's going to keep the door wedged.
There is one piece of age on the table. Can you tell what it is? We're not sure. It's a 50-50 jobby, but there's something of age on the table.
This.
No, it is this.
Why did you indicate that? Why did you indicate that? I thought it was there just for foreground, just to make our meagre selection, just to sort of pad it out a bit. But that's an amazing fossil. You're right. Yeah. I thought you just put it there as dressing, actually.
Well, we think it could be, because if you look at the diameter of that, the way it's actually formed, it could be an ammonite. Now, we do get them down there.
Just for the viewers, obviously I know. What is an ammonite?
Jeff, I shall put it onto you.
It's a coiled shell with like a squid coming out of the end. And it had tentacles, and it was a marine creature. And sometimes they got to be this size, sometimes even bigger.
Okay.
But yeah, very military.
Mostly military, Second World War then.
Well, I'm fine with that because it is my favourite era of history. My father was in London during the war. He was there during the Blitz till he moved out, went to Coventry, and then promptly got bombed there. Plus, of course, the Battle Picture Library and Commando War Stories for Boys. Yeah. A mixture of them and my father got me very interested in this. So, I thought this is my favourite day yet. It really was. I absolutely loved it.
Well, guys, you've produced yet another great massive material, and this time it's really focusing on the Second World War. And there's a lot more to be found out about this material, I'm sure.
Our finds today left us to ponder London's part in World War II. So it's time for Steve and I to go our separate ways and discover how our capital survived its darkest hour, the Blitz.
Coming up, Johnny embarks on a mission so secret it's even a mystery to him.
It's not like any other place I've ever been in London. I don't know what I'm going to do.
And we finally learn to work as a team on a high seas adventure. After a good day's larking down at Silvertown, myself and mud god Steve Brooker turfed up enough bullets to reenact World War II. Now I'm off back to the foreshore to investigate a story of some of London's unsung war heroes. When Hitler started pummeling London in the Blitz, a small but vital group of men risked their lives night after night in the secret bunkers that dotted the Thames, with the aim of minimising the destruction wrought by the Führer's master plan.
So where are the bunkers that housed all these night watchmen during the Blitz of London? Well, to find out, I've come down here to meet a man called Andy Brockman, who's an expert in these matters. I was just given a postcode. I know I'm in Woolwich, but actually it didn't show up on the sat-nav in the minicab, which is now gone. There's planes going overhead from the city airport. There's various different styles of modern housing. It's a very, very strange place indeed. It really is. It's not like any other place I've ever been in London. So hopefully I'm going to find him. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do. But anyway, Andy!
Our destination today remained hidden for 65 years along the Thames foreshore. It was once within the boundaries of the Royal Arsenal at Woolwich. The last of its military connections was severed in 1997, but for more than 100 years, officially at least, this area didn't even exist.
Hello there, Johnny.
Andy, hi.
Very nice to meet you.
You realise we're walking through what was the most secret part of London, don't you?
That secrecy pervades today, Andy.
Until the mid-1990s, it didn't even appear on the maps. It was the government's biggest arms factory.
Really?
They developed the British nuclear bomb here.
Did they?
Yeah. These things were covered by the Official Secrets Act. People took it very, very seriously. They didn't talk. The irony is, of course, that the Germans were flying over taking aerial photographs, and places like the Arsenal were being photographed and mapped, and we've got targeting photographs that the Luftwaffe took of this area that were taken in June 1939 before the war even started. 70 years ago, this was the Luftwaffe's primary target.
Okay, so tell me about how these bunkers emerged from the veil of government obfuscation.
When the military and the government scientists moved out, this whole area was redeveloped for housing and so on, and the Thames footpath was built.
Okay.
Which we're walking along now, of course. And all of a sudden, people are walking along here, and you can see them. They've always been there. It's just that people haven't valued them before. Yeah. But in fact, they've got this incredible story to tell about how Londoners defended themselves in the Second World War.
Ah.
Welcome to the front line in the Blitz.
That's it, is it? That's one of the bunkers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, that lacks the feminine touch, doesn't it? It's kind of a manly bit of architecture.
It's a very utilitarian piece of architecture. It's built to do a very specific job. It's to keep an eye on the river, and it's to protect the people inside who are keeping an eye on the river.
So who are the men staffing this bunker? Who is in there?
Well, the first thing to remember is most of them would have been volunteers. Most of them wouldn't have been in any form of uniform service when the war started. They would have joined the army or the navy. They're going to be home guard, in which case they're ordinary guys who are doing this in addition to doing their day jobs.
Yeah.
They might be older, they might have served in the World War I. They might be young guys who were in reserved occupations, you know, working in the factories back there in the arsenal. The guys in there night after night are putting their lives on the line, while all the time they're probably wondering what's happening to their families who are in the houses and in the shelters and so on, being bombed all around us as the bombs come down.
What was their role then? They're all packed in there. What are they sort of doing all night? I mean, apart from they're worrying about their families, but what can they actually do to help?
Their job's actually watching. They're not actually doing any other fighting. They've got their weapons with them. If the invasion kicks off, then they'll turn that into a defended post. But what they're doing most of the time is actually watching and probably getting cold and bored.
Yeah.
But what they're looking for principally are parachute mines, magnetic mines falling into the fairway of the river, in which case they'll take a bearing on it and they'll cross-reference it with bearing from other watching posts along the river, and where they cross,
yeah. So they know
that's where they know where it's gone in, and they can get the Navy divers in to come in and clear it.
Hitler's intention was to cripple the Thames by using magnetic mines. These ingenious weapons could be dropped in the river, where they'd lie dormant until ships passed over them, at which point they'd detonate. The task of locating those mines, so they could be made safe, was the duty of the bunker watchman.
So how vital was the work they were doing there? Presumably they stopped lots of ships and vessels getting blown up.
That's the point. Just over there's Beckton Gasworks, and we've got the jetties over there. They're firing coal there, they're making coal gas. If the colliers can't get there, London runs out of gas. If you drop a magnetic mine in the fairway of the Thames, the colliers can't get there because they risk being blown up. So that's why it's important. If the Thames is blocked, London gets strangled.
And this is it, it's all about the Thames.
Yeah.
Old Father Thames.
Yeah.
I don't think that's even an expression. Let's go take a look at the bunker. Frankly, there isn't enough room to get a camera down there. It is so cramped, the conditions down there. What are they made of?
Well, you can see they're made of what's called shuttered concrete, which is basically you make a wooden frame and then as a mould, effectively, and then you pour layers of concrete into it over a period of time. It goes hard. What's great about this one, though, you can see two things. First of all, you can see where they've used corrugated iron as well, or wriggly tin as the military call it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is we've got this black stuff here, this sort of black blancmange stuck on top of it, or fruitcake even, with all these bits in it.
Yeah.
It's actually, we call it bituminous armour. But what it does is if you get a splinter coming down from an exploded anti-aircraft shell or a bomb or something like that, it goes into this and this acts like a sandbag. It deadens the impact.
Awful conditions to be under, you know, and as you say, boring for much of the time, and then they've got to be vigilant. What sort of a debt do we owe these men?
They're unsung heroes. It's not as glamorous as flying a Spitfire. You know, a few guys, volunteers in uniform, a lot of them maybe from the local community, actually have as important a role, really, in terms of keeping London open and functioning as a city, as the Prime Minister sitting up there in Whitehall. World War II, it's total war. It's a top-to-bottom operation. Everybody's involved. They're all supporting each other. If they weren't there, then we'd be living in a very different country now.
Working together may have won the war for us, but coming together was what saw us through. In the afternoon of the 7th of September 1940, the Blitz began. Nearly 900 German bombers and fighter planes assaulted the city, with over 400 Londoners killed and another 1,600 injured after the first assault. It started in London, in a period of the most ferocious and sustained bombings the country has ever seen. And not only did it start in London, but it lasted for 76 consecutive nights. Brenda McCall, just a little girl at the time, was out for a walk with her mum and dad on the day that would become known as Black Saturday.
Well, how it felt was terrifying, because the sun just went out. It was like someone turned the light off and you were really frightened. What I remember, a great billowing black clouds like you see on a volcano or something. And I can remember my dad picking me up in his left arm and turning around and grabbing my mum with the other hand. And from that angle, I looked down, I saw my mum's face, which was like, I imagine, well, she said years later she was screaming.
When did you get to safety then?
We went down to my nan's basement flat, number 49 in the Wallerham building. It was like a a castle keep to me, with a gate, and we all felt safe in there.
Protected.
Protected, and thank God we were.
By the end of May 1941, more than 1 million houses had been damaged or destroyed in the capital alone, and over 20,000 Londoners killed.
Oh.
It's strange looking at it.
Yeah. It's smaller than I remember it. It's all changed, but this bit coming down here is just that I could be back in 1940. Most of the people in this block of flats, which is 6 stories high, I think most of them felt they would be safer down here. They didn't want to go in the shelters, so they came down here. I do think that my nan brought her piano out. This was the prized possession. There were benches, like we used to call them forms. They were down there. I mean, that was a corridor. In my mind's eye, it's much wider.
Remember, you was a lot smaller.
I was smaller,
You was a lot smaller, yes, that's why it looks so, yeah. It was a lot bigger than in those days.
But all the grown-ups, I mean, my nan and the other ladies, they got tea, cocoa for everybody. Everyone was trying to keep their spirits up, keep happy for the kids and everything.
For them, it would have been a frightening time.
That's
You
right.
didn't really know what was going on.
No. So as a child, I felt safe down here, and I'm just so grateful that we had this refuge. It was like, I mean, looking around it now, you wouldn't think, you said, oh, it was a bit of a dump. It wasn't a dump, it was my family's home. My heart is still here in a lot of ways.
After the break, Steve and I hit the deck of a serving Royal Navy vessel, WWII style.
God! Help! Oh, sorry, got it.
Against the clock and the tides, we've poked, prodded, scraped the foreshore, and our precious artefacts have taken us to war. World War II, to be precise. Our prize find, a shell case from a World War II anti-aircraft battery, has led us to join the Navy on the present-day frigate HMS St Albans. Launched in 2002, it's the 6th ship of the Royal Navy to bear the name. Based in Portsmouth, she sails across the world to combat piracy and uphold British defence. She's returned to the Thames for just 5 days, and Brooksy and I are lucky enough to be given the rare privilege of boarding this operational Type 23 frigate.
Well, Steve and I have spent the night boning up on our Royal Navy stats from World War II. Steve, what did you unearth?
Well, in 1945, the Royal Navy had its biggest fleet in existence and in history.
How many ships?
900 warships.
Wow.
And also 866,000 men and women in the Royal Navy.
I found out that incredible 1,525 Royal Navy ships were destroyed in World War II, yeah? Including 224 warships. They also lost 50,000 Royal Naval personnel, which is actually more than the combined forces of the Royal Navy and the Royal Marines today. I mean, extraordinary
unbelievable
roll of honour, isn't it? Anyway, let's get on board and meet some of the personnel who manned this one.
Naval historian Jock Gardner has agreed to put us through our paces as Second World War recruits, and it seems he's got the measure of Volney.
I gather you're a bit of a chef.
Well, you know, I'm
So whilst I head up to the bridge with Jock, Johnny begins his naval career at a more appropriate level.
Navies are not in the business of winning wars, but they're in the very important business of not losing them. And in Britain's case, being an island, this is a particularly important thing. There is a general perception that the invasion of Britain in 1940, for instance, was forestalled entirely by the Battle of Britain in the air, and yes, that was very important. However, the whole point was that any invasion would have had to have come substantially by sea. And it was the Germans' lack of confidence in their ability to do that without incurring huge losses that stopped them coming.
What was the main objectives of the Navy in the Second World War?
Primarily, the first one and the most important one was to maintain the flow of goods and other things into the country. In other words, looking after the defence of shipping.
Why was that important?
It was extremely important because otherwise we would have run out of raw materials such as oil, and we would have run out, most importantly, of food. There were huge strides made during the Second World War in making Britain more self-sufficient, but we still needed to import material of all these kinds from abroad.
Speaking of food, Johnny's stint in the galley kitchen should give us our first taster of World War II Navy life. HMS St Albans is home to approximately 185 personnel, a similar number to a World War II Navy destroyer. And then as now, there were plenty of hungry mouths to feed.
All right, Spud. Oh, sorry, all right, Vaughan?
You decided to join someone who's actually doing some work, instead of swanning around with the top brass on the old bridge.
I see you've finally found your place as a spud tanky.
That's very good, the sort of affable Scottish comment I'd expect from you, Jock.
So, Jock, what was it like being a recruit in the Second World War compared to what it is today? So, we're in a great galley here. What was it like food-wise?
Food-wise, it was very bad indeed. Very little variety. They didn't pay much attention to good nutrition. And furthermore, it was served in the same places as people actually slept.
So what were the sleeping quarters like?
Again, extremely poor. For a start, there were a lot of people in one space, possibly up to as many as 60. Particularly in the smaller ships, they were often wet as well. There was often seawater actually moving around the floor of the compartment they were in. And it was not a pleasant environment in which to live.
Jock, what about women in the Navy? In World War II, presumably no women on board.
In World War II, there weren't women on board, except on some very special circumstances.
What do you mean, special?
No, not what you talking...
Shh! Don't tell them I brought a bird on board.
Very occasionally, it was necessary to carry certain people, such as people who did things like the Prime Minister's coded messages.
Oh, right, okay. That's a big change then between the Navy of now and then. I mean, we've spoken to lots of girls.
Yes, but women are on board now as part of the ship's company. Yeah. They are integrated into the ship.
They're not wenches,
yeah.
You know.
On the other hand, if you go back to the period of Trafalgar, you find that there are a number of what one might term unofficial women on board.
Unofficial women?
Some of them actually wives or significant others of members of the ship's company, some who are operating on a more freelance, wide-ranging basis.
Unofficial women, eh?
Spud, get peeling.
Sorry. Actually, I can't even taking orders from you. All right.
Typical insubordination from Seaman Vaughan. But Jock thinks if a mudman and a motormouth are going to make a go of this Navy lark, it's time for us to see some action.
God! Help! Drill practice has existed since we've had a Navy. A vital part of any recruit's induction, today all basic training begins with drill.
Guard! Shoulder! Arms! So the drill that we're seeing here, was this been exactly the same in World War II?
It wouldn't have been exactly the same, apart from anything else. They're completely different kinds of rifles.
Yeah.
But it would, in its essence, be just the same.
Yeah.
It does have both practical and other purposes. I mean, the practical purpose is that you might actually have to land sailors with guns to do a job. Yeah. The second thing is, of course, is it does have this business, first of all, of helping people to learn self-discipline, but also to be able to work together as a group. Discipline in a ship, in a warship particularly, is a thing of considerable importance.
Yeah. I love with your Scottish accent, just the word discipline is just superb.
Thank you.
I don't know why, but the word discipline with a bit of a Scottish brogue just sounds so much more severe. Discipline.
It's only
it sounds so much more savage.
But discipline.
There'll be discipline.
I'm glad you like it, Johnny, because you're about to learn
That would be a privilege.
Right, you two, stop loafing! Get belly! Quicker! Wiggle your rifles then. Get the same position. Other way round.
What?
Magazine facing the other way.
Oh, sorry, got it.
God!
What you see here is Steve and I exhibiting lightning reactions and perfect coordination. Seriously though, it's not as easy as it looks.
Stop laughing then.
Guard! Shoulder! Arms! Sorry. Cheated a bit. Sorry, left.
Now we've fully integrated ourselves into the Navy team, Deputy Marine Engineer Officer Beth Griffiths has agreed to give us a taster of one of the biggest threats to ships: fire.
Well, since the beginning of the Royal Navy, one of our biggest fears is if we take damage or we have a fire. So what we're going to show you here is our firefighting training and the equipment that we use. It's a life-saving skill that every sailor has.
So what are some of these sort of inflammable hazards on board?
Yeah, we have a lot of hazards on board. You're looking at 600 to 700 tonnes of fuel on board. We've got oils on board, high pressure air. So everything can actually into the mix can make a fire.
One spark.
One spark.
It's like a floating bomb.
It is.
We're going to get you into the firefighting equipment. You've got a time of 8 minutes from anywhere in the ship to get this full firefighting kit on and get to the scene of the fire.
Oh, Beth.
Limber up. Right, that's the alarm. The guys are going to help you get dressed. You just need to get the trousers on first. Right, that's it. Jacket on. Nearly there, nearly there.
Done.
Glove 1's on. Right, glove 2.
Quick, glove 2. I can't. My hands.
Right, you're ready. Right, let's go. Let's go and man the hoses. That's it. Straight round, straight round.
Now, Johnny might think I'm getting him wet because it's fun, and well, he'd be right. But this is actually Navy protocol.
Steve, don't, I will take you out.
Our twin hoses combine as the quickest and most effective way to deal with a fire on board. Whilst Johnny uses a traditional hose to fight the flames, I'm creating a wall of water that acts as a shield to protect us both from the fire.
Off water wall.
Right, so it's as easy as that. Looking good there, fellas.
As a reward for our hard work, Weapons Engineer Officer Terry Gibson has agreed to take us to the top deck to show us the ship's artillery. It's a sharp reminder that HMS St Albans is a fully working naval warship, ready for combat at all times.
You'll see that most of the weapon systems and munitions we have on board, or the ordnance, is no different than what you had in the First and Second World War. Effectively, it is a lump of high explosives on the big guns on the front, which is delivered to a point. And it's the same with, for instance, the minigun here. And this one is really no different than what you saw in the Wild West when you had the Gatling. You had the Gatling gun and they pulled over and there's a little man there turning away, but now it's powered. So effectively, it's just put lots of ordnance out into a space at any point.
How many rounds per minute on this thing?
Good question, Steve.
3,000 rounds per minute, approximately.
So we could really give the bankers really something to think about here in terms of the next credit crunch. When we could take out the whole city with this. We could say, you cause another credit crunch, we take you out.
Well, it's not quite like that, but the use of the gun itself is anti-air, close-range anti-air, or anti-ship, for instance. This weapon's very effective at neutralising that form of target.
You're dealing with something that really is, you know, goes back to the sort of periods we've been looking at. You do deal with pirates.
Yes, we do deal with pirates, and at the moment there's always a Royal Navy ship in what we call the Kalash region, or the anti-piracy, working in the Somali Basin or the Indian Ocean.
Is it disappointing that pirates no longer say, "Arr"?
No.
While the minigun has a range of 1,000 metres and is used for close-quarter combat, the ship's foredeck is dominated by the 4.5-inch gun. This calibre of 4 to 5 inches has been the standard destroyer armament since World War I. With an accurate range of up to 14 miles, it's used for combat against enemy ships and to support a land-based assault.
As you can see, the guys are actually picking the shell out, actually loading it from there onto the actual conveyor. It's pushed through manually by the captain of the gun bay, as you can see. And then it goes onto the feed ring, you see it indexing round, and then up the chute, up to the actual turret itself, where it's fired as and when the option decide to do that.
So that is effectively like a massive revolver?
It is a massive revolver. It's like the minigun, only slightly slower, a lot slower, bigger caliber weapon, or bigger caliber shells fired out for it.
Yeah, they look really heavy in there.
Yeah, each shell is about 50 kilograms. It's really heavy. Hence why you have so many guys, you see them there now, actually loading it on to the actual sleeve itself. So right, you fellas, monkey see, monkey do. You've seen the guys do it. They did it in 1 minute, 52 seconds with 14 shells refitted.
Breaking records, Terry.
You are Johnny Vaughan, yeah?
You're right.
See, with your arms are as fast as your jaw.
No, they're not.
Policy, surface. Load the feed ring for initial load with ram rounds.
Policy, surface. Load the feed ring for initial load with ram rounds. Good effort.
Come on, gents, you've got to be quicker than that.
They're getting kind of low. Well handled, Steve.
Feed ring loaded for surface with 14 ram rounds.
Right, gents, if you'd like to come around there. Your time actually was quite credible.
Was it?
Gentlemen, it was 2 minutes 15, where the ship worked up ship's crew did it in 1 minute 50. So congratulations.
Yes.
Training as a World War II Navy seaman today has been very rewarding, and we've both agreed we'd love to leave our wives and run away to sea. Sadly, Terry wouldn't let us, but he did dismiss us in style.
At ease, please, gentlemen. I'd like to say thank you very much for your efforts today. I think you've done exceedingly well, and you qualified for a Royal Navy cap. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Attention. Salute. Dismissed.
I enjoyed that, Vaughan, did you?
I enjoyed it immensely, Steve. It was fantastic.
I thought it was great.
Now we're on the town.
Yeah! To the gentleman's club.
To the gentleman's club.